This episode is brought to you by Temptations Cat Treats. Your cat will come running for the perfectly irresistible Temptations Creamy Puree and Temptations Lickable Spoon Cat Treats. The best time to feed lickable cat treats to your cat is anytime. Feed by hand for a playful moment, in a bowl for a creamy treat, or as a topper to make mealtime fun. Visit temptationstreats.com to learn more.
Choosing a bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drink that's all flavor and just 100 calories? Easy. Choosing between creamy vanilla, double chocolate, and sea salt caramel flavors? A little harder. Try the delicious new Starbucks Frappuccino light drinks. Look for them wherever you buy groceries. Start with Starbucks coffee.
Welcome to Farm Here Daily, a Field Forward podcast. I'm David Geiger, your host. I've been on Iowa TV and radios for the last decade and excited to start week 2 of this podcast, Farm Here Daily. Today, we will be talking about some of the grain transportation issues of the day. I'll speak with Mike Steenhoek of the Soy Transportation Coalition. And also, there's a lot of events going on from our Iowa pork producers. Joyce and Kevin Hall with the Iowa Pork Producers Association will be here to talk about that. Now, please be sure to like and follow the podcast and our social media at Field Forward Pod. We would love to have you join our community, helping keep folks in Iowa informed about what's affecting our farmers. And joining us now here on Farm Here Daily, we have the folks with the Iowa Pork Producers Association. There's definitely a lot going on with IPPA, and joining us we have Joyce and Kevin Hall, and both of them are going to talk about some of the new ideas, campaigns, and events going on for the next few months. Thank you both for joining us today on Farm Here Daily.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great to be with you.
Joyce, let's just talk about this new pork campaign to start things off. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. So last week, the pork industry unveiled a new consumer marketing campaign. It's called Taste What Pork Can Do. And this is a new campaign that's really targeting consumers. It's backed with extensive consumer data to really position pork and to reach consumers with our profile, our flavor profile and messaging with versatility and nutrition and convenience. And
that's primarily targeted at Iowans around here?
No, actually, it is nationwide or beyond that. It's a national campaign that will be targeting mainly consumers in high population states and markets. So it's going to be more outside of the Midwest than inside. We'll be doing a lot with it here in the Midwest on a state basis.
And I think, David, the important part for Iowans, with Iowa being the number one pork producing state, obviously this is important to our members. It's something they've been asking for Pork Board to do a big push, and Pork Board is responding and doing that. You know, about 1/3 of the nation's pork is produced right here in the state of Iowa, and about 120,000 jobs are connected to the industry. So obviously this is a very important promotion for our members, for our pork producers, and for the state of Iowa. Obviously, we provide a lot to the state's economy.
I think that's really interesting to note, particularly in producing 1/3 of the nation's pork, because we have another big opportunity, Kevin, that you're working pretty hard. Well, both of you are, and all the folks at the Iowa Pork Producers Association. But the World Pork Expo is just a month away, and that's a really good way not only to market our own pork production, but also have that reach and national worldwide outreach for pork production in general.
Yeah, the World Pork Expo is coming up June 4th and 5th at the Iowa State Fairgrounds, and it's a huge event. We, of course, invite all of our members to come, and there will be people from literally all over the world coming to Des Moines for this big event. It's a great opportunity for producers, for industry professionals. There's a huge trade show. You get to see a lot of exciting new products. It's a great networking opportunity. IPPA will be there. We'll have a hospitality tent and, of course, welcome our members and anyone to come in and enjoy some nice, delicious pork and some beverages and meet with the staff and meet with our members. And I equate it to kind of a mini state fair because there's a lot of delicious food around there, too. And it's just a great opportunity. Good learning experience. There'll be seminars being put on. So we're encouraging all of our members and anybody connected to the pork industry in any way to show up at World Pork Expo.
And how do folks show up at World Pork Expo?
Just go to the website, worldpork.org, and you can get your tickets right there.
That is Kevin Hall with the Iowa Pork Producers Association. We're also speaking with Joyce Hoppus as well. Joyce, with the Iowa Pork Board, there are some campaigns going on there as well. Can you tell us a little about some of those?
Absolutely. Well, we just wrapped up our Pork in the Pantry campaign and promotion. This is one that we teamed up with our county organizations to provide pork to their food pantries and different organizations that serve those in their communities. We're excited to say that we had 47 counties participate. And with this program, the Iowa Pork Producers contributes $1,000 to each county to basically purchase pork in their county and then give it away to food giving programs. And again, we had 47 counties participated. They contributed over 18,000 pounds of pork, and which it equals about 75,000 servings of pork.
Wow.
Which is amazing anyway.
That is amazing. And that is, I believe, is this the second or third year that's been going on? Because I know it's been growing each year it goes.
Yes, this is the third year for that program. And you're right, it has been growing. We've had more counties each year participate. And we just hear a lot of positive comments coming back from the counties that they really appreciate this program. And again, it just fits with their We Care principles of caring and supporting and contributing to their communities.
The Iowa Pork Board is also promoting the barbecue and brew. Kevin Hall with us. Kevin, what's the barbecue and brew all about?
Yeah, barbecue and brew. This will also be our third year doing this event, and it's going to be a great day at Principal Park. We partner with the Iowa Cubs and Fairway Stores. Saturday, June 21st from noon to 4. So it's a pork barbecue competition. You're going to have about 30 teams battling it out for more than $12,000 in prize money. You get to go as a consumer, as a participant, to sample each team's pork. You can help pick out the People's Choice champion. There will be samples of craft beer and cider, pork samples from local grillers and smokers, live music. Thyron Matthews, who's a Netflix pitmaster champion, will be there. He'll be putting on a barbecue boot camp. It's just a fun event, and a lot of this is giving back to the community. It's all to raise funds for Iowa food banks and food pantries as well. Again, Saturday, June 21st from noon to 4 at Principal Park in Des Moines. Going to be a great time. It always is.
Absolutely. That sounds like a great time to go over that. You said it's the third year as well. What type of reaction have you gotten the last couple of years with that?
Oh, people have had a lot of fun with it. We've had teams from literally all over the state coming in and competing. These are backyard barbecuers, so these aren't the professionals. But if you look at them, I mean, they've got professional-looking rigs set up, and they take this very seriously. It is a serious barbecue competition, and they'll show up, the late afternoon before, and they're there all night, slow cooking their delicious barbecue, and it's just a great time. And it's a very competitive event, and that they take it really seriously. But if you're going as just an attendee, it's just fun for you. You get to eat a lot of delicious Iowa pork and sample some delicious Iowa craft brews, and just have a good time. A big celebration of pork.
Joyce, just around the corner, we only got a few months left. I know it always creeps up on us, but we ought to start talking about it sooner than later. We have the state fair on the way. Tell us about what you guys are doing in preparation for that.
Oh, you're right. It does creep up on us, and we actually had a farrowing display meeting this morning anyway, so we are definitely gearing up.
Staying on top of it.
You got it. And always the Iowa Pork tent, and we have producers and volunteers from all over the state coming to cook and grill and serve the pork. And so, yes, we'll have a major presence at the state fair, and plans are definitely are in full swing.
All right, Kevin, Joyce, we covered a lot in this conversation here on Farm Here Daily. So I want to just do a quick run through of all the links and all the locations and all the places we got to remember here before we let you go. And let's just start off this barbecue and brew. Remind me, Kevin, what time and date that is?
It's Saturday, June 21st, noon to 4 at Principal Park. Tickets are available on our website, iowapork.org.
All right. We also have Pork in the Pantry. Joyce, could you remind folks how they can get involved with their local pork producers associations and get involved with that?
Absolutely. So the best way is to reach out to your individuals, pork producers in the county who are involved. And if you don't know who that is, you can reach out to Iowa Pork Producers Association, and we will direct them to who they need to reach out to.
Kevin, we have the World Pork Expo in just a month. How do folks get involved with that?
Yep, June 4th and 5th. Go to worldpork.org for all the information.
And lastly, of course, we have this new announcement for bold flavors for pork production. Joyce, can you tell us a little bit more about that one last time?
Well, consumers will be hearing what pork can do for them anyway, or taste what pork can do for them, and they'll be hearing about it in lots of different locations everywhere they look. We're working with our Midwest retailers. You'll be seeing it in their ads, and you'll be seeing it wherever you see pork.
Yeah, Hy-Vee and Fairway and retailers all over the Midwest. Absolutely. And all over the country. And if you want to learn more about what pork can do for you, go to tastewhatporkcando.com.
Tastewhatporkcando.com. That is Kevin Hall and Joyce Hoppus with the Iowa Pork Producers Association. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, David.
This is the Farm Here Daily podcast, and we're going to take a quick moment to look at the market close numbers for Monday, and it was certainly mixed, but a good day for soybeans. May corn down a penny and a quarter, 4.40 and a quarter. July falling a penny and 3/4, 4.48. Soybeans in May 22 cents higher at 10.66, with July rising 19.5 cents at 10.71 and a quarter. Soybean meal in May, $3.90 a ton. In the green, $291.10. May wheat down 6.5 cents at $4.99, with July falling 6.5 at $5.15 and a quarter. In the livestock market close for Monday, June live cattle up $2.15 a hundredweight at $216.82. August rising $2.02 at $211.60. Feeder cattle in May, $5.12 a hundredweight more at $303.10. August rising $6.07 a hundredweight at $306.37. Lean hogs in May, 35 cents a hundredweight more at $90.72, with June up 72 cents at $98.30. That is the Monday market close. This is the Farm Here Daily podcast. And joining us on Farm Here Daily, we have Mike Steenhoek, Executive Director of the Soy Transportation Coalition. Mike, always glad to be talking to you about what's going on transportation-wise around the country. And let's just start off first with the Mississippi River. How are water levels going so far this year?
Yeah, so far it's been pretty good. You know, there's been certain areas of the country, particularly further south, where the river's been quite swollen with some of the rains that we've received earlier this year. We're kind of getting to more of a situation of normalcy, now. And, it's important to kind of emphasize the importance of the river throughout the year. We naturally think about having the river open and operational during the fall to try to accommodate all of the exports that happen, after the soybeans and the grain is harvested. But spring's also an important time for the river because a lot of fertilizer shipments get transported via barge northbound, obviously to coincide with the planting season. So it is a very important maritime artery, an important part of our supply chain. And so, at least things are looking more stable right now. But one thing we've certainly learned over the past several years is that the pendulum can swing dramatically from one extreme to the next, from flooding, but then also we've experienced a considerable amount of drought over these last several years. And when you still have a pretty sizable amount of U.S. farm ground still in a drought situation, or at least dehydrated to an extent, it doesn't take a whole lot of dry weather to all of a sudden get us back into low water conditions. So it's always something that we monitor with the Soy Transportation Coalition.
Now, I know there's been some pushes to make improvements on our aging locks and dams, as well as other parts of the Mississippi River, including initiatives like dredging. How have those fared over the last couple of years?
Yeah, we've had some successes, but obviously the list is long. The to-do list is very long. We've had some, the Army Corps of Engineers respond pretty well the last couple of years to dredging the shipping channel on the Mississippi River in response to low water conditions. We've had, again, 3 consecutive years of drought conditions, which have impeded barge transportation. So it's really important for the Army Corps of Engineers to get on the front end of that when the problem starts to materialize, not after it fully materializes, but being proactive is really important. We've seen the Corps do a much better job of that, which has made a big difference when it comes to preserving navigation on the river. We do continue to see some progress on a number of lock and dam projects. The problem that's still a big concern is, number one, the list is pretty considerable about the various capital projects that we would like to see some movement on, not only some new construction, but also operations and maintenance. But then also, this is a very big one, is that a lot of these projects are incurring significant cost overruns and project delays. And I think during this time where there's a lot of focus on government efficiency, and that's been something that everyone's talked about for years, but there clearly is more of an emphasis on it to try to make the taxpayer dollars stretch further. And I think one of the ways that we could really make some significant progress on that is being able to attack this issue of inland waterway projects being completed with significant cost overruns and significant project delays. We need to make a lot of progress on that. So that's something that we continue to focus on as well.
Mike Steenhoek right now with us, Executive Director of the Soy Transportation Coalition. Mike, in the news, there have been a lot of talk about moving things to be American produced, and a big one is at our ports with ship production and shipbuilding. What has that been looking like from your perspective with the Soy Transportation Coalition, and how likely is that to move forward?
Yeah, I think it's important to underscore that U.S. farmers, you could argue, are the ultimate made in America constituency. So we've got a long, proud history of U.S. farmers producing U.S. food on U.S. soil. So we are going to be the least among us to chastise or criticize any other potential made in America industry like shipbuilding. We think that's a laudable goal, to have a greater number or higher percentage of ships, including commercial vessels, being produced in the United States. So again, that's a laudable goal. What our concern has always been is the recommended implementation of that goal and the penalties associated with that. There's number one, there's this desire to have more ships made in the United States, but then there's also this effort to penalize China for the fact that they've prioritized and subsidize that industry for a number of years so that they've become preeminent in this industry. So it's really more in the implementation phase. And it's kind of analogous to having a 747 jumbo jet positioned on an aircraft carrier and expecting that 747 to be able to lift off. Of course, the inevitable result of that will be the 747 will plunge into the sea. And the fact that it would do so is not the fault of the 747 or the aircraft carrier. The fault would be with someone imposing an unrealistic expectation on the 747 and on the aircraft carrier. You need to have a long runway, 9,000, 10,000 feet, in order for a 747 to be able to take off. And so as we're looking for ways to stimulate greater U.S. shipbuilding or to rewind or mitigate the dominance of China on shipbuilding, we need to make sure we have a realistic time horizon for that. And our worry is that in the effort to try to promote a made in America industry, shipbuilding, you're going to be harming other made in America industries, agriculture and others. And so we really need to make sure that we've got a reasonable time horizon for that, and making sure that we're not imposing any kind of penalties that harm these other made in America industries like farmers.
What type of groundwork is needed from your perspective and pre-planning to make that jump from saying, hey, let's have more ships built in America, to when we actually start making initiatives and policy that push that to actually happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's an exceedingly long runway, and I don't have a precise forecast on that, but it took China well over 2 decades to be able to do it in their country. And you think about, in order to do this in the United States, you're going to have to. We do have some existing U.S. shipbuilding for the U.S. Navy and some commercial vessels, but in order to hit these kind of targets and to be able to have this kind of percentage of the world fleet made in America, you're going to have to dramatically increase that shipbuilding footprint. So it's going to be massively expanding what we currently have and constructing some new facilities that we do not have. And just think about the time it takes to be able to acquire that land, to determine where they need to go in the first place, then to acquire the land, to build those facilities, to train the workforce to be able to work in those facilities, and then to build the ships. That's in a period of years. Think about an individual infrastructure project that it breaks ground, and it easily still takes 2 to 3 years just to build one new plant or one new export terminal, and that's not unexpected. That's something that's quite routine. And so you really just do need to have a reasonable time horizon with that. And again, we don't have a real concern or objection with the goal to try to promote more U.S. shipbuilding. It's really making sure you have a reasonable time horizon for that. Whenever you have a goal, whether it's a personal goal, whether it's a company goal, an industry goal, or even a national goal, once you've established the goal, the elementary next step and next question is what is the appropriate time horizon to be able to achieve that goal? That's the first question you should ask. And I think we could do a better job of really having our mind as a country, our minds wrapped around that, and really making sure that we're proceeding in a realistic fashion.
Mike Steenhoek, Executive Director of the Soy Transportation Coalition. We'll have to have you back on again to talk about what you think we really should be pushing forward as well alongside some of these other initiatives going on. But thank you again so much for being here today.
Thank you, David. Good to be with you.
Thanks, Mike. And thank you for joining us on Farm Here Daily, a Field Forward podcast. Again, in order to keep producing this type of local Iowa content, we'd love to have you join our community. Please follow our podcast as well as our social media channels at Field Forward. Additionally, you can find me on social media at Geiger Reports. You can also see me on TV, WHO Channel 13, every day in their morning and noon hour programs. Again, I am your host, David Geiger. I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody.